All right, so now we are going to move
friendship.
on. Yeah, we've done friendship, so now we're going to move on to flow. We talked about the importance of friendship, so we're going to talk about flow. And so our definition of flow is the intentional pattern and plan for navigating the mundane and the momentous aspects of life. And we do this in order to remain unified through the changing seasons. So I'll say it one more time. Our flow is the intentional pattern and plan for navigating the mundane and the momentous aspects of life in order to remain unified through the changing seasons. So how many of you guys have seen Bird Box? It was on Netflix, right? It was like one of their biggest movies yet. And if you remember it, Sandra Bullock was in the movie. And in the main portions of the movie, they were on this boat going down this river, and they were blindfolded. So at first, the water was calm, and there was nothing going on. And then at some point, the water started to rage. And a lot of times, we can see that we are blindfolded, just like Sandra Bullock and her family were. And because we didn't have a plan, when the waters start to rage, we really don't know what to do. Things go bad.
Yeah, and just kind of like Lola said, that's cool when the waters of life are calm, but when you've just developed a pattern of just allowing life to happen to you, going with the flow then becomes your flow. But what happens is when the waters of life start to pick up, and all of a sudden things become less calm, and you're in the stream of life blindfolded, it becomes a place of unhealthy practices, and it becomes a place that can be potentially dangerous. And just the idea of realizing that life is going to ebb and flow, there are going to be seasons, and so many times we can be kind of just tricked or deceived into thinking, I don't have to have, we got through year one pretty cool. Y'all's year one might have been different from ours. Mm-hmm. Ours was a bit challenging, but if y'all's was pretty cool, you might get that false sense of security that comes with an easy first step, or first step where you don't realize some of the misgivings and the difficulties you're experiencing. So the idea is just to not have your eyes closed, but in the middle of easier portions, be thinking and developing a rhythm. And so kind of to that degree, on our wedding day, marriage day wedding, on our wedding day, June 14th, we had a wedding playlist, and one of the songs that we put on the wedding playlist is called Cliff and Claire, and it's by an artist called Sho Baraka. And what was really, there's one line that was really dope, so I'm gonna read it verbatim so I don't mess it up, but this line really left an impression on the both of us, and it said that it's a different place in life because it's a different marriage. They need new expectations now that they've become parents. And so it wasn't even really the parenthood part that really spoke to us, but just the idea that your marriage is really evolving and it doesn't stay the same. Like, you're not the same couple after 1 year of marriage as you were as a newlywed, or after 5 years, or after 10 years. But oftentimes, what we notice is that when we're not being intentional, we're starting to operate years down the line with a mindset and a thought process of marriage that's outdated. Mm-hmm. And so the idea of flow is creating and grafting a rhythm that will help you push past that and navigate through that no matter where you're going, because your marriage is definitely always evolving. And so for our flow, some of the tenets and the pillars that define our flow is intentional transparency, confession, and accountability. And so these have been the pillars that set our life and our marriage together. We shared earlier some of the low points that we've had. And honestly, if we weren't cemented and if we weren't convicted about, hey, we're going to be open with people, we're going to share what's really going on, a bad season could have been really worse. What was a low light could have been a low isolated moment. So that flow in determining how you're going to create patterns in your marriage is so crucial.
Yeah. So now we kind of want to talk through what are flow disruptors. Short answer, life, okay? Just stuff just comes up and it just happens. But we'll talk through a few of them. The first one being loss, and loss can come quickly. It can come out of nowhere, extremely unexpected. And so one of the things we just wanted to share with you guys was that we told you about our little girl passing away in 2016, but even more recently, back in February, we had a miscarriage. And I got to tell you guys, it was not easy. Yeah, okay, sorry. I'm trying not to get emotional. But I think that it was really good that the way that we went through it, because we were really intentional about telling our close friends, we told our community, and being able to have people check on us, to love on us, to pray for us. It was so helpful. It was so, it kind of just helped the healing process come together so much easier. And so even though it was really tough, and it kind of took a lot out of us, it was still something that we were able to navigate through well as we could, and be able to heal from well. And so I guess I kind of wanted to share that because in this room, and I hope that this doesn't trigger anybody, but in this room, I would imagine that someone else has gone through the same. And so I just wanted to encourage people that it's important that you heal with others if you want to. Some people are really like, I'm good, I have it by myself. But we really believe, and to be honest, if you did reach out, I would imagine that the Lord would bring people around you to fortify you in a way that you don't even realize is available to you. And so that's what he did for us. And so, and the other thing is that the enemy loves to just play in our minds, right? And so as soon as we keep things in, as we isolate ourselves and don't allow ourselves to kind of get our thoughts out there, that's when the enemy can like push you further down. It was your fault. What did you do wrong? Tell you lies and other things. And so we believe that there is much value in allowing others to come alongside you through really, really hard times. And so that is a flow disruptor. And it's really unexpected. And it's not just loss in terms of pregnancy, but family members are lost or other things would happen. And so all of it's really tough. And so we just wanted to share that with you guys. Other types of loss, environment, so not loss, but a flow disruptor, so your environment, job, you can get a new boss. The culture at your job just shifts, it changes. So what do you do from there? It can kind of shift what's going on at home because things at work become stressful. So how do you navigate? Family drama can be something, or you instantly become a caregiver to your mom or to your dad or grandparents. And how do you navigate that? Because you can't go home after work. You got to go take care of grandma or what's going on at the house. All of these things can disrupt the flow of your life. That's your environment. Personally, you can get sick. Health can be a really big thing that happens, and we don't expect it, but it can take a toll on our bodies and on our families. You get rear-ended, or you have an injury while you're playing basketball. Now you're out. Now your money's off. Now all kinds of flows can get disrupted from all over the place. So we're just trying to give you guys examples of what could happen. And what we're encouraging is that you would be in a space where, hey, we have decided this is what we're going to do as life changes, and be intentional with that. And in doing that, the things that are ultimately going to disrupt you, that they would not take you off the path that we know the Lord has for you. You can say complacency.
Yeah. And so even on top of that, complacency in and of itself is a flow disruptor. Like not realizing that it's time to adjust, it's time to move, it's time to bob and weave can mess you up because you start to become stagnant. When you don't want to change, the things in life that weren't a big issue and maybe just would have required a minor adjustment, they start to build up and they start to build up. And all of a sudden, you have a mountain out of something that was originally a molehill. Not because that individual thing is so difficult or so unique, but rather because you've developed a pattern of not changing and not adjusting to what life is bringing at you. So just that general idea of complacency is a big flow disruptor because the word is flow in and of itself. We'll have seasons when we're doing well, but if we're not adjusting and if we're not updating our behavior, those seasons of doing well can shift. And so that's another flow disruptor. But just so we don't think of flow disruptors as necessarily a negative thing, you can get a promotion at your job. You can all of a sudden get, you can double your pay and be promoted to partner. You can have a corner office where they move you to the other side of town. You can have a baby. You can have all sorts of incredible things. You could win the lottery. You can have all sorts of incredible things happen to you, but just because they're a good situation doesn't mean they don't mess up your flow. So realizing that life is going to move and life is going to change and it's dynamic. And you need to have a regular practice of just reevaluating, retooling, and changing. So I'm just gonna share like a little weird, tertiarily relevant aspect. But and this is off the script, but it just popped into my head. And I'm glad because I get to get the one I want to. I get an Avengers reference. So I saw a video. I forgot where it was at. But if you've seen the movie Avengers, if you watch the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, Iron Man he's the key character. And so the video was showing how his armor had evolved throughout all of the movies to the end. And so it pointed out, in the first movie, he froze when he flew too high. So he added heaters. And then later on in Civil War, Ant-Man was able to slide into his suit. So he made nanotechnology that nothing can slide in against. And in another movie, his best friend Rhodey, he died because he almost died because he plummeted to the ground. So he puts a parachute in Spider-Man's arm. So Iron Man is paying attention to everything that happens. And at movie 22, he doesn't have the same suit that he had in movie 1. Similarly, and the video was crazy. If I find it, I'm gonna send it to y'all. But so similarly, we just have to remember that flow disruptors come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. They're not always negative things. They're just things in our life that require us to adapt and to adjust and to roll with the punches.
That's good.
So yes, I got my one. I told Lola I was sad. I'll have Avengers reference. Anyway, so we talked about flow disruptors. Now we want to talk about functional flow. And so we have some aspects of functional flow that we believe would be helpful to you. But a key facet of functional flow is that it unifies the two of you. So the pillars that you two set up in your marriage are going to be a rhythm for your life, and so they have to be agreed upon by the both of you. It's not really helpful if what you guys set up as that rhythm, as that flow is just something that one person likes or one person appreciates. So the idea is that it's going to benefit your marriage, so there needs to be mutual agreement on that flow. And then the next point is that functional flow honors Christ. It makes the two of you guys look upward in terms of your submission, living peaceably with each other and honoring one another. And a real big key scripture that we think about is Ephesians 5:21. And it says that we're to submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. So as believers, our marriage should be our highest earthly relationship, but it's first and foremost a reflection of the gospel and our relationship with Christ. So a functional flow in marriage keeps that the priority, and it makes space to evaluate how the two of you guys are honoring God. And so thirdly, a functional flow strengthens your friendship. And so when you are in a healthy flow and a healthy rhythm in your relationship, when you put down those pillars that help you guys navigate life well, your relationship continues to grow, and it's in a healthy space because there's a sense of consistency throughout the ups and downs of life. And so this helps us feel more secure, and when you feel more secure, we're more apt to open up and go into deeper levels of vulnerability and transparency, which just in turn turns into a flow of deeper friendship. So the third pillar of functional flow is that it strengthens your friendship.